Hey Vegas, I'm Emily Connor Cooper, and welcome to Legends and Laughs, where laughter is always on the menu and the stories are bigger than life itself.
Now, I know a thing or two about show business. You could say it's in my blood. I was born and raised in Texas, found my way to New York City to study at NYU, and I landed a job as a producer with CBS, NBC, and Broadway. And well, life became a lot more interesting when I met Pat Cooper at the Friars Club. From the hustle and bustle of New York City to the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas, I've had the privilege of being surrounded by some of the funniest and most talented people in the world. And today, you'll hear from people who knew Pat, who Pat knew, and in ways you won't hear anywhere else.
So sit back and relax and get ready to hear some stories that'll make you laugh, cry, and maybe even scratch your head a little. This is Legends and Laughs, where the humor never stops and the legends never fade. Hi, welcome to Legends and Laughs. I'm Emily Connor Cooper, and today we have a true Las Vegas legend. He is actually, I can say, the #1 impressionist, singing impressionist in the world, the one and only Bob Anderson.
Oh, you are so sweet. Holy cow.
I'm really not, but that was...
Well, I'm so glad I'm here to see you. I really am.
I am thrilled that you are here because of all the Las Vegas legends, you're here and you have the stories, and that's what we would love to hear. So thank you for making it here, first of all. And you look great, and I'm looking forward to seeing you do your shows soon. You've got some shows coming up, including at Myron's at the Smith Center, September 20th.
Is that what it is? I don't even know what it is. They just take me, go over there, and that's where I go.
A wonderful room.
So many.
It's a wonderful room, but you're still, you're still doing your show. And I just saw you at Carnegie Hall.
Yes, you did.
In December.
I was saying to you when I was on stage, I was looking at you like that.
You were.
I know I was.
Yeah. And I was
you were the pretty one on the whole place.
Well, that's really sweet, but I was actually in the front row. You could see me.
That's right. Well, that was another girl I was talking about. No, I'm kidding. No. So, I know, we were talking there. It was beautiful.
I met you through my late husband, Pat Cooper, a few years ago, but...
He's a great friend of mine.
Actually, it was about 7 years ago, but can you just start telling us a little bit about your history of how you first got started here?
When I got out of high school, immediately they took me, but they wanted people to go over to Vietnam, and they just picked me right up. I did not say, hey, I'm going to go in. I didn't want to go and say, I'm going to go into the military. No, they took me and said, come on. So, and I was just turning 18 years old. And they got me there, and so I went in. And after that, I was in there for a while, and then they took me to Vietnam. And I went there, and I stayed in Vietnam for about a little over a year, more than a year and a half. And I was a platoon leader over there. And I was there for that much time. And we got through it. I made it. It was a tough time, though, right there. There was a lot of people that were with me that didn't make it.
Vietnam, Nancy Sinatra went down there, right? And that's how you actually ended up on the Merv Griffin show, is that right?
No, not because of that, no. Nancy was down there at a different time when I was there also. I never went in to see any of them.
Right, no, I understand, but she's the one who introduced you to Merv Griffin, though?
Yes, she is, exactly. Because when I got home there from Vietnam, I came home, and I was like saying, wow, okay, what am I going to do? I got to get out of here. I was at my home and everything, my family. And one day I just said, I got to take a break here. So I went and got a car and told my parents, I'll be back. Okay, I'm going to California. So I just got in my car and took off. And it was what I did. I left from Chicago, or from Detroit, or where we live. So I go to Chicago. I go all the way out there, and I'm going out, and I said, this is a place to turn. So I turned this way here, was going to Las Vegas. And I didn't even know anything about Las Vegas at the time. So I turned into there. I stopped, you know, when I got finally to over where the water is and everything, I got all this stuff, and I came down. And when I pulled the car over, there were a bunch of signs. You've seen them before. There were a bunch of signs up there, but they were talking about. And I've never been in Vegas, so I go in there, and I'm a young guy, and I parked it. I said, yeah, I can't go in there like this. I'm dressed like this. So I walk in the door, and there's a guy standing there, and I says, hey, how you doing? He says, I'm doing good. How about you? I said, yeah, I'm good. I said, so I see over here, where's Frank Sinatra and all of them? They're right in here, somewhere right here. And the guy says, yeah, they're here. I said, oh, okay. So, you know, when are they on tonight? And he says, oh, when do you want them? I said, what do you mean, when do you want them? He said, hey, buddy, what are you talking about? Frank Sinatra's not here. I said, oh, where is he? I don't even know if he's here, but Las Vegas is down the road about 20 miles. So I said, oh, okay. So I got out and I drove down there, and I wound up at a little bit, it was getting dark, so I wound up in there, and I pulled the car over in there, and I fell asleep. You know, I was a long time. So I get up in the morning. I was sleeping there not long, but I got up there. I went and I just turned 21. So I was dressed like ugly, you know. So I slept in the car for all these days. So I opened up the door at the place where I was at, and what was the name of the place I was at? Sahara. The Sahara Hotel. So I go in there, and I want my friend to be able to say that. So I go in there, and I'm sitting there, and a guy named Mark Tan comes in next to me. He was a journalist, a music journalist. And the guy, I said, hey, can I have a beer? He says, oh, are you old enough? I said, yeah, I have just now today. He gave me the beer. And the guy goes by next to me, and he's a journalist, and he says, what's your name? I said, I'm Bob Anderson. He said, well, I'm Mark Tan. How you doing? He said, what about it? He said, well, listen, Nancy Sinatra's in the other room right here. He said, would you like to come in and watch her? I said, Nancy Sinatra's here? Are you kidding? And he says, yeah, just come on. I said, I can't go like this. I mean, I cut off. So he said, yeah, you kidding? There's nobody in there. Just go on in there with me. So I go in there with him. We sit down for 1 minute. The Everly Brothers are out on the stage. They're practicing. Now they're in a big fight, argument. So much they were in an argument that Nancy's husband came over and said, you guys are fired. Get out.
Hugh?
Kicked both of them out.
That was Hugh?
Huh?
Hugh?
Yeah,
that was Hugh,
right.
Her husband, Hugh, yeah.
Right. So kicked them out. So I was sitting there, and now they're going to open their show in 3 hours. And they had the other people, who's going to do this now? He was doing all the stuff before them. So I'm sitting there, and they're all saying, what are we going to do now, man? We got rid of those guys. We were working on this thing and everything. So I told the guy over here next to me, I says, hey, I said, I'll tell you what. I said, I can do whatever she wants. I'm a singer. And he laughed so hard. He says, you're a singer, right? Okay, well, then go up and tell her. And I said, well, how would I go up and tell her like this? He says, go up and tell her. I said, I will, man. So I got up there, and I walked right up to the thing, and I said, and they're all over freaking out. And she had 60 players on this stage. So I'm sitting there, and finally I said, Nancy. And I'm dressed like this. Nobody's paying attention. I go, Nancy. Nobody's still looking at me. I go, Nancy. Oh, they all stopped. And they looked at me and said, how did that kid get in here? So I said, Nancy, I'm a singer. Just like that. Everybody laughed so hard. And Elvis Presley's guy that takes care of Elvis Presley and her stuff was right there with Nancy and says, Nancy, give the kid a break. See if he can sing. So she does. She writes the song, These Boots Are Made for Walking. You know, these boots are made for walking.
Of course.
Okay. Well, she started. Right. So she starts doing it. She says, okay, you're going to sing this with me. You said you'd know a lot of songs. They started playing them. I sang them right with her. And I got done with the song. Everybody freaked out, and the laughing, even the guys out here, all were laughing and holding their hands. She gets off and hugs me. And from right there, I go up, and Elvis Presley's guy says, come here. He says, you're going to be singing here tonight in a few hours. Give me a couple of songs what you want to sing. I said, what do you got? So he showed them to me. I said, okay. Nancy grabs me. She took me down the street, we need 2 tuxedos for this guy. And I says, Nancy, how's he going to do it? We're all going on here. And she's gone. So I go back to the hotel. We go upstairs, and she takes me into her room at the top of the hotel. I'm sitting there, and she's talking to me for a while. Who are you? Tell me who you are. What have you been doing? So we talk. Pretty soon, somebody puts a little bit of, that comes in and puts some keys on a table right there. And we're talking. She says, come on, get with me. She gets me, opens the door, and directly across this door right there, the Everly Brothers, it says up there. Well, right when I'm getting there, a guy comes up next to me, excuse me, and he tears down the Everly Brothers. He puts Bob Anderson up there. Well, as I'm getting there right fast. So I couldn't believe it. Holy cow. Now this is the top, I'm in the top place here on the Strip. This is one of the top places on the whole Strip. So I'm up there now, all of a sudden. So she opens the door, I open up, it's the Everly Brothers' room. And she said, listen, just sit down here for a little while. I'll be right back. So I go up, I open up to look out there at what's going on. I mean, I'm freaked out, man. I have hardly any clothes on that's any good. And I look out, and they're putting my name up on the marquee and everything. I couldn't believe what was going on. So this is what I did. I did it. I went back. I did that evening when she came back to get me and everything. I got up there, and she introduced all the people. They said, ladies and gentlemen, you aren't going to believe how this happened today. And she says, this is a young man that just came back from Vietnam. He was a platoon leader and all this stuff, what he was doing. And he just gets there. And they all started applauding and they continued applauding for, for 1, 2, 3. They kept going. Nancy came up, well, I got to tell you this here. So now she's going to go on and perform. When she goes on to perform, her husband is working over there and we're going to dance together. I got to move. She said, I got to move. So he goes and she turns around and he grabs his deal here, turns around and flips her wig off right in front of me. Right, and I've never seen it like that. And I'm sitting there and all of a sudden her wig, he hits it, her wig goes off and lands right in front of me. So everybody starts laughing so loud, I didn't know what to do. I picked it up and went over to her and gave it to her, and she laughed so hard again. It was amazing. So we went through the whole thing. We did the show.
So that's what started it all.
That's what started it all, right. Then 2 days later, she was going to see the Merv Griffin show. She said, come on, I want you to go with me. So I go over there with her.
Is this like 1973?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly right, when it was. So I go over there with her, and she says, I'm just going to do my show here. I said, okay, I'm just sitting. So Merv Griffin's there, and he says, she introduces me to Merv Griffin. And Merv says, would you like to sing a song? I said, yeah, Nancy? He said, yeah, that'd be cool. So I go ahead and I sing the song. I go up and sing a song. She did one, I sang it. And when I was done for it, I get a phone call, and it's Paul Anka. He was just listening to me on the show. So he called there, he says, let me get a hold. He says, give me the phone. And so I pick it, and they said, Bob, Paul Anka's here. I said, what? So I go, Paul, so I pick up the phone, and he says, Bobby, this is Paul Anka. I said, come on, who is this? I just told you, it's Paul Anka. So I said, well, holy cow, Paul, cool. What's up? He says, listen, I'm going to be working here tomorrow. He said, I want you to come with me. I got a song I want you to sing. So I said, well, how do I? He says, I'll be right over. So he drove over, Caesar's Palace, picked me up, took me back to his house, and he played his song. So he did the whole thing. We came back the next day, and I sang his song. Merv Griffin and him put me by the arms, took me out again, and said, this is Bob Anderson, all this stuff. The place is packed at Caesar's Palace. And I sing the songs, and when I'm done with it, Paul Anka says, Bobby, great. I don't need you anymore because I'm going to do the song. I listened to it now, and I liked it, the way you sang it. And he says, so I'm doing it. It's mine. So, but he and I have been friends for years. So right after that, I started doing other things. After Merv Griffin, other people sang or came to me, and so did Johnny Carson.
Well, that was huge.
Oh, it was unbelievable for so fast.
Yeah.
I never dreamed that was going to happen. I was just a regular dude. I never.
It's like from Merv Griffin, you just took off, right?
Exactly.
But you were really good at doing the impressionist and impersonations.
No, well, I didn't know it though.
Like Tony Bennett even said, he's better at me than I am, right?
Yeah,
I mean, but they all kind of said that, right?
Yep,
They were
yeah,
always.
They all did. Yeah.
Yeah, but you did a big show at the Dunes for many years, right? But that's really when you became a Las Vegas legend. But you were with everybody. You were on Jerry Lewis's telethon.
Yep.
I mean, you were very young too, right?
Very young.
And you're still young. You look great too, and you're still doing it, which is amazing.
Well, what happened, and also I said to tell you, when I was with Johnny Carson, his phone, somebody said, Johnny, here, said the phone's for you. This was after the show. Everybody was gone and we're sitting there, the musicians there. And he says, hey, Johnny, this is Kirk Douglas. And he says, I just watched that kid. He said, I'm doing a big show for Henry Kissinger. He's doing it with Frank Sinatra. And I want this kid here to be with Frank Sinatra for this show. He's perfect for it. So Carson turns around and says, listen, let me tell him. You know, Bob, they want you to go with Frank Gallery over here, talk to him over in Las Vegas. And going to do a thing. I said, can you make it? I said, I guess so. Yeah, I'll go. So I go over there, and it's Frank Sinatra's place. I'm right there for Kissinger. I wound up doing a song, 3 songs on the stage, and Frank Sinatra was right behind me. He came on again, and they were just doing a big party for Henry Kissinger. He just came back from Vietnam, and it was a big deal. And I came out there, and I mean, there was Gregory Peck. There was everybody was there, and I couldn't believe it. I was there, and Frank Sinatra was right in front of me, right behind me. He was singing, and his wife was right there. I've got the pictures of it all.
Well, speaking of Frank Sinatra, back in, 2016, you did the Venetian show where you had the Hollywood makeup artist really do an unbelievable transformation, and you really did look like Frank.
I know.
And you sounded like Frank. This was just before Pat and I moved out here, so we missed that show. But, I mean, it was epic. And I know everyone said it was just unbelievable. But, you know, you sound like him, but the fact that he was able to really make you look so much like him was really something.
And allow it, yeah, that I did that and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
It really was, and you know, and he was really nice and everything. And at the end of the show there, I got to go with them and have dinner and everything with Kissinger and everything, and Gregory Peck and all these people were there. It was just an unbelievable. I couldn't believe how this was happening in my life so quickly.
When you do Frank, Dean, Sammy, Tom Jones, Tony Bennett, and you really do transition from these people. I've seen you on stage do it several times. And you even step aside and change your outfits. But who is your favorite? Who do you feel most comfortable?
Wow, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Here's the thing. Frank Sinatra, if we're going to put down somebody who's the best of all of it in singing, Frank Sinatra, okay? But then you turn around and you think of Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett sings as well as Frank Sinatra, okay? There's certain, and then you got to go around again. It depends on where you're talking about. If you want, you know, Robert Goulet, you know, when he's, if ever I would leave you, it wouldn't be in summer, you know?
Yeah.
All this stuff. I never would go, you know, all these things, you know. I mean, he was unbelievable. All those people at the time, but I'll tell you what, in my true belief that the best vocal singer of my lifetime that I've known is Jack Jones. He was the best. And there's records out there right now from Frank Sinatra that said it too, that in his opinion, Jack Jones was number one. Tony Bennett said Jack's he was the best. And I totally was first ones that was going around saying that.
Well, I agree with you. And when I first heard the song Emily, and I did think that song was written for me because talks about the murmuring sound of May, and that was the month I was born. But my parents used to play that 8-track of Jack Jones, and I always said, I think he did, everybody did that. Dean did not cover that, but Sinatra did it twice, but I think Jack Jones did it the best. Also, I think Vic Damone, he was great too.
Vic Damone was wonderful too.
You know, but Jack Jones, and I got to tell Jack that you did the best version of Emily. I got to tell him that. But when I was a kid, I was like, oh my God, how does he know? How does I thought he was singing it to me.
Yeah.
But I agree. You know, Jack Jones, his voice was unbelievable.
Well, there was a lot of, there's a number of really good singers up there. But when you're talking about those singers, and it goes right to it, you've got to say that who is, it's easy to see who's the one that's beyond that. Vic Damone and all those people, yes, but Vic Damone, I'm not putting Vic Damone down. I love Vic Damone. He sings really good in what he sings, but where he sings there isn't going to get up to where Tony Bennett and Frank Sinatra and Jack Jones. They're just unbelievable. Jack Jones could hit notes that nobody else could hit. Not even Tony Bennett could hit them. He'd go right past them. Jack was one, and he'd hit them. When he would sing them, he'd sing them perfectly all the time. And I traveled all over the world with Jack Jones. I went with him. I traveled with Tony Bennett. I traveled with Tom Jones. We traveled all over the place around the world and stuff. But we had a wonderful time. I'm still happy right now that I'm performing.
Yes.
Here in Las Vegas.
And you sound wonderful. You really do.
Well, I'm really. Vegas was a wonderful place for me. I loved it. My family was here and everything, and it was just a great thrill. Things have changed now an awful lot, but maybe I'm going to be doing something here. I'm talking to some people about here, doing something back in Las Vegas again. All these great people and hanging out with them all. The first time I got up at the top of the dunes, every single one. I'll end the show with this here. I did the first show up there, and it was amazing. And once they fooled around with me when I was the first time on stage up there, and they got up on stage when I was singing, and they said, come on up, we're going to sing with you here. It was such an unbelievable day. My opening night on there, all of them came up on the stage and when I was singing and made a great big show out of it. It was fantastic. Everybody was singing the piano, and I was saying, wow, is this what this is about? And they all laughed. And then they went back to then I finished it, but Tom Jones was right there saying, yeah, come here, I'm going to sing one. We'll move over. And this one would say, no, I'm singing one. And Mel Torme would come up. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Well, there was a bit that you and Tom did where you stood next to him and you all did Delilah together.
Oh,
right?
yes,
yeah.
yes.
That was a great number.
We did that
Yeah.
many times. I did that
Yeah.
all through England for London, and we did all that together. We do Delilah. Every time I'd go somewhere with him, we would do Delilah. But we did it so many times here. And I brought Clint Holmes with me, and I introduced him to him and everything. When I was there before Clint Holmes was in this town. But then he came over, and I love Clint. One wonderful friend of mine. And but then Clint came in with me too, and we'd go meet Tom Jones all the time, and we'd party. One time right here in town, Tom Jones and I would go to the bar over on, I can't even remember the name of the bar. But anyway, we stayed there till 6 in the morning and just drinking and playing. And Tom, you don't have to be rich to be my girl, you know all this stuff. And we're going along, man. And after we were drinking a little bit, then it went further than that. Till 6 in the morning, we would go out there and go sing. Man, I've had a wonderful time in Las Vegas, and I want to stay too. I want to come back at times.
No, you have to, but you keep coming back,
I
right?
do.
And it's
I do.
different than it used to be. Pat used to always tell me
tremendously
how
different.
it used to be magical. You could see
Pat.
the mountains from the Strip, and it was magical, and everybody dressed up. But it's magical in different ways now. Every town changes, but you were really here in the golden years, And
Yeah.
I'm looking at this picture of the Strip, thinking about what the dunes must have been like being on top of the dunes. I never got to be at the dunes. I didn't get here in time to even visit.
Yeah, I did. I got here when the best time. What was amazing is when I ran into town here, to do this, this was after Nancy Sinatra and stuff and all that, but they came up to me quickly and offered me this thing up at the top, of the dunes. And I even changed when I got there, I changed the time that I was going to be performing. I went up till 9 in the morning. That's when my act started, because it had to continue, because all the stars were getting home at 1 o'clock or whatever they do that's when there was 2 a night. You did the first evening, then you do the late night.
Yeah, okay. Oh yeah.
Right, they all used to do that. So when they did that, I said, well, they all want to come over to my place. So I turned it around. Okay, so I turned it around and I just started doing things differently, and they would all come over after work by themselves. They would come back up, and then we had a party. As soon as they walk in there, Tom Jones would get in and start singing, and everybody would start when they would come in. Steve Lawrence would be in there, Jack Jones, all of them, whoever came in, wound up singing. And we had the musicians would come in with their guitars and stuff with my band, and everybody would have a ball.
What a magical time.
Oh, and I'm so happy that I'm still coming out here.
God bless you for still doing it, and you sound great, you look great, and you have so many stories though, because there are so many people who you met, and so you can come back when you're back in town. Will. Come back on the show, and we'll talk about more stories. But thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you at Myron's on September 20th.
I'll be there, darling.
Yeah, it'll be great. Thank you.
I love you,
buddy.
Appreciate
I love
it.
you.
Thank
okay.
you so much.
All right.
Thank you all.
So thank you for watching today. We'll see you next time on Legends and Laughs, and you can follow us at Legends and Laughs on Instagram and Facebook. See you next time.